October Red is sponsored by SA Security. Maximum security, minimum fuss.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I'm back again for news and reviews. It's Abs of October Red. I ain't spoke to you guys in a bit. Like I said, I'll only do something if I think it's worth talking about. I hope you guys have been looking after yourself, taking care of yourself. Remember, mental health matters. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling low, I hope you've got a support network that you can rely on, that you can talk to. If not, and you can afford it, have a therapist, because people deciding to end their lives early because of depression really needs to be looked at across the world. I can't even just say in this country. So mental health matters. If you love someone, tell them, give them a hug, let them know that you care. There's far too many of us going and not getting to tell our loved ones that we really did love them, and we're never really getting to say goodbye. So yeah, that's just a quick note from me reflecting on things that have been going on outside in the world, and also things that have been going on personal around me. But let's get back to boxing. We know what you're here for. There's a couple of items that I wanted to discuss with you, and obviously you guys to come back in the comments and give me your much valued feedback. I really do appreciate every single one of you that takes the precious time. Time is something you'll never get back, guys. Money, other things you can get back, but time and your health, don't take those for granted. So every time I see somebody write a comment, good, bad or indifferent, the fact that you've taken the time out of your day to comment means a lot to me, and that's why I try my best to reply to every single comment. Because I haven't done one for a while, I'm not going to go over the last time we spoke, but I'd like to say a massive thank you to those of you that joined us on the live for Crocker Donovan 2. Very enjoyable. The chat was amazing. 2,100 I think tuned in the end. Fabulous. Can't do it without you, and can't wait to do it again. Right then, boxing. We've heard that obviously Crawford's been stripped, obviously for a reason, at the 154 after beating Canelo at 168. You can't keep both belts at both weights, and they've elevated interim champ Abass Baraou. So that's interesting. It could potentially open up the 154s in the UK. Those of you experts that looks at the weights, which I think 154, I think it's super welter, isn't it? Put the names in the hat of who Abass Baraou might fight next. But that's fantastic news for him. It's fantastic news for Wasserman. I'm one of these that's openly said I don't know what's going on with them. When are their shows? What are they doing? They're so sporadic. So yeah, it's good for business. Abass Baraou is good for business for Wasserman. It seems, obviously I was at the press conference. I can't even remember if I think I did something after that. I was at the press conference for Eubank Junior Benn 2. Not as, well, nothing's going to be more exciting than the first one, is it? Let's face it, you can't relive that magic. It's like that first kiss on a date. You never quite get it back, do you? I could give some other comparisons, but I won't. Let's keep it PG, guys. So allegedly, Mr. Robert Smith from BBBofC has taken umbrage to the comments yet again that Chris Eubank Jr. has made at the press conference in regards to the ambulance being stopped, his ambulance being delayed, apologies, for getting out of the venue, obviously due to security gates, etc, etc. My 50 pence worth is, look at the event itself. If there were some delays, I'd look at the actual event where it took place, which was Tottenham Hotspurs, and my first port of call would be with them because they're in charge of manually opening and closing gates. I should know that because I've seen the security put up bollards when they weren't supposed to, and I'll leave that comment right there. So I'd go for the venue rather than the promoter. But at the end of the day, if that's what Chris Eubank Jr. thinks, that's what he believes, who am I to argue with him? But the row escalates. So both Eddie Hearn and Robert Smith taking legal advice. Not action, not yet, but advice. Because you're looking at potential defamation, aren't you? Of character, of business, etc., etc. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., anywhere he is that there's a storm, isn't there? And obviously we already know about the WBO grace that has been given to Usyk. He's got a 90-day medical extension because obviously they've agreed with the evidence that is provided in regards to his injury. So we know that we've got now Joseph Parker defending his interim against Fabio Wardley, which is coming up. It is coming up October the 25th at the O2. So back in South London. I'm thinking, guys, to probably do a watch along for that. I was going to go, but I think I'm just going to pay the 25 quid and do a watch along. I mean, you can let me know your thoughts on 25 quid. I was and silly me, I was clearly deceived to thinking that this two-tiered DAZN thing had come out, where pay-per-views were essentially disappearing. So it was a little bit of a shock, and I clearly didn't read the documentation properly because it doesn't start until, I think, November. So they've just scraped that one in there. So I'm sure you guys will let me know what your thoughts are in regards to the pay-per-view. Look, whether we like it or not, the fighters have got to make money. But what I am noticing, and I'm all for it, you know I've always been all for it, is Netflix in boxing. They are hosting, and, you know, laugh all you like, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. I believe they had a face-off. I haven't watched it, like the event itself, but I've seen the highlights over social media. Gervonta walking in with his handbag again, his purse, you know, his style is bespoke, for a better words, but he looks at peace. Maybe it's because the bag that he's going to get, but he actually looks at peace. He looks calm, he looks chilled, he looks ready. And Jake Paul is Jake Paul. Love him or hate him, that guy knows how to make a quid or two. And he knows how to promote a fight. Because I completely forgot about it. And then when I saw the highlights, I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch the press comp or the first face-off, whatever it is. I'm going to catch up with it. I haven't thus far, so you haven't got to worry about me telling you, spilling all the details on what happened. But something that has caught my eye, and probably the main reason why I'm doing this, is an article that's come in from Mo Soap that works for The Ring magazine, a very talented journalist who always gets key information. Now, we find out stuff in boxing, obviously, you know how it works, before it can go out to the public. So I'd heard about this before. I know the article's been out for 3 days, but allegedly Richard Riakporhe, Benn is pushing to put Richard Riakporhe versus Joyce on the November 15th card, which, as you know, is the Eubank Benn rematch. So I'll read the article for you. So Benn, it's been a transition period. Changing from Sky to BBC is a big deal. Massive opportunity. But when you're changing between two monsters like we are, it's a big job. He sighs after being asked about the specifics of their first show on terrestrial television. Not just the production teams and the talent, but everything needs to be lined up and make sense. We'll announce our schedule very soon. Adam Azim's new contract was unveiled last week, but details were kept under wraps. Azim will be in major career-defining fights before the year ends, Shalom said. We've started with him and been through it, his career, since the start. He's a phenomenal fighter, and I'm delighted to see his career's next chapter. Interesting that. So he goes on to say, we're pushing for Richard Riakporhe to be on this card. Obviously, we said the November the 15th card. Shalom said a fight against Joyce is a great British heavyweight fight. Tommy Welsh is another option. Joyce, 16-4 and 15 KOs, former WBO interim heavyweight title holder, turned 40 on Friday and has lost 4 of his last 5 fights. 2 by stoppage since early 2023. A 2-fight series with Zhilei Zhang ended up with consecutive damaging knockout defeats before 10-round losses against Derek Chisora and Filip Hrgovic on Queensbury's first DAZN show on April the 5th. Joyce's promoter Frank Warren told The Ring that weekend that he was purposely reticent upon hearing the Olympic silver medalist planned another return to action and accepted it was a very tough fight for the 8-year pro to return to the sport's elite level now. When someone's describing you as a great servant for a nation's sporting achievement, it's hardly a glowing assessment of your future prospects. He's got so much courage, but needs to have a real sit down, Warren said at the time. I'll tell him what I think, and he'll make a decision as to what he wants to do. One thing about boxing, you get to a certain age and this stuff can catch up to you. Riakporhe, 18-1 and 14 KOs, a former world title challenger, has been active, often boxed low-level opposition since winning the British Cruiserweight crown in December 2019. Wow, it's been that long. So when his world title opportunity came on home soil against the then WB belt holder Billam Smith at Selhurst Park last summer, the 35-year-old's lack of variety in Plan B was glaring in a rematch of a fight he had edged 5 years earlier. Shalom wasn't happy, but under new coach Billy Nelson, armed with world-level divisional sparring partner away from the comforts in Scotland, he's optimistic about Riakporhe 2.0. I always felt Richard was a heavyweight, Shalom said. It frustrated me that he couldn't perform at cruiserweight anymore, much like a Coley. The injury withdrawal made staying motivated difficult. We got him back and he looked brilliant out in Riyadh. I'm excited for him to get into the heavyweight mix. He can do some serious damage, and now sparring Martin Bakole is a good thing. Shalom added that Tommy Welsh, 16-0, 9 KOs, with another option they could pursue instead. The 30-year-old Welsh is long-time family friend of welterweight contender Harlem Eubank, who is obviously one of the Eubanks, isn't he? So, potentially, Richard Riakporhe fighting Joyce or Tommy Welsh. I need you guys to let me know what you think in the comments. It would be good to see him active again, because I've always said, and you'll see the interviews, I've often asked Richard, what are you doing? What are you doing with your career? Are you a model? Are you a boxer? Are you taking this serious? I've called him out on Instagram a few times. He saw it, but he's blanked it. He's not replied. So it's like, has he lost his magic for boxing? I'll tell you what, it's such a strange sport. When you get to know the fighters like I have, they're extremely emotional beings. And I get it. They climb through those ropes, they're centre stage, the spotlight is on them, they like the attention. It's not nice to lose. There's so much different types of emotion attached to the fighters, and that's why when I do speak to them, that's a side I try not attack contact wouldn't be the right word, but I try and get through to them and try and find out about them, because that is what their real personality is. There's this showman, and then there's the person that lives underneath, and that's what I always want you guys to see. Speaking of that, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. The next boxing event, I think it's October the 11th, and that's in Sheffield. I'm looking at Birmingham events. That's in Sheffield. Obviously, we've got David Allen versus Makhmudov. Unfortunately, young Leo Atang won't be on that card because he suffered injury in his last fight. He got that KO against, you know, a fighter that's gone the distance with some, drew with other prospects. So Leo Atang's out of it for a minute. I hope the injury isn't going to keep him out the ring for too long. Yes, age is on his side. He's a baby. But it's not good to hear that he's getting injuries so early. That's the skeptic in me. But we wish Leo Atang a speedy recovery. Guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. And it's been a short one this morning. We'll see how the week goes. I did speak to Ben Shalom and he said, look, there's going to be some announcements soon. We'll be doing some bits and bobs, maybe press conferences. Who knows? But he said that he would let me know, and hopefully I can get a conversation with him. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your day. If I don't speak to you before the weekend, have a fabulous one. And as we say at October Red, stay ready.
October Red is sponsored by SA Security. Maximum security, minimum fuss.